Welcome back again. This is Kathy and Rosie Vesperina. So this ride is the continuation of the ride that we did last weekend, where we went to the Biker's Attic to go to the charity event that I mentioned to raise funds for veterans. This is just leaving the charity event in Doyalson North and heading back now towards the east to Soldiers Beach. So we had to get back on the Pacific Highway, obviously, but then do a U-turn or a U-turn. We were too nervous to just do a complete U-turn, so you'll see my granddaughter ahead of me giving me some hand signals that kind of meant we're going to turn right here and go down the road a little bit, and then we'll turn around and go back in the other direction. Luckily I understood her sign language. So that's what we did, and a couple of other bikers did exactly the same thing. They drove down here a little bit and then turned around. So we did the Yui, and now we're turning back up to the Pacific Highway to turn left. And what you probably can't hear so well here is some other people that left the event on very big, noisy, beautiful bikes were coming from the other direction again, and they were doing the Yui that we were too scared to do. So we were a little bit hesitant because we weren't sure whether they were going to come across into our lane, but all good. We were in the slow lane on the left, and they, as you can see, took off very fast, but I'm sure within the correct speed limit, to wherever they were going. It was still a great day, great weather, great riding. Fee is behind me on her bike. So Mia and Fee both have the Honda CB 125, and there's a letter after that. I can't remember what the letter is, but they are learner approved bikes, so they both have the same red one for Fee and the white one for Mia. Mia knows this area up here so much better than me. Oh, excuse my hand over the screen then. I was just trying to make sure that my the camera was still positioned where it should be. Mia knows her way around this area much better than me, and you can see she's taken off a little bit because she lives up this way, whereas I live much further down south towards Gosford. So we're still kind of in Doyalson / Doyalson North. We're heading towards Doyalson, and it's reasonably flat in this area as well. Not too much traffic on the road heading back, which was really, really nice. So we're heading south, but then we will do a bit of a turn towards the coast so that we can head to the beach. I should probably insert some music into these videos as well. I haven't quite mastered that skill yet, but maybe in the next one I will. Because when I stop talking, there's not a lot happening other than watching us ride along. I really don't feel so bothered by the cars that are around me when I'm riding anymore, and along here I think it was 70 or 80 kilometres an hour, so they were going fast, but it was okay. So we're now stopped at and turning left at the intersection onto the scenic drive, which takes us kind of across to the coast now, to the beach area. And I think we travel through the Buff Point area, Budgie, and then down towards Nora Head, and Soldiers Beach is kind of in the Nora Head area. I actually hadn't been to this beach before, which is crazy because I've lived on the coast for 35 years and never been to Soldiers Beach. So I was really looking forward to it, even though I had absolutely no idea where I was going. Thank goodness that Mia was in front of me, and I have the GPS attached to Rosie just in case I got myself lost. I'm always a little bit nervous too in these areas when they're quite bushy on both sides about the wild animals jumping out and having a dance on the road and me squishing them, or them squishing me. I think if a big kangaroo jumped out, it would squish me and Rosie as opposed to the other way around. But this area is just lovely with all the bushland. I mentioned in the other video I do a lot of bushwalking / hiking, whatever you want to call it, and so I love being out in nature. I love that we got to experience so much different riding on this trip. We didn't obviously do any off-roading. I'm not sure that Rosie would be able to do anything off-road, but we got a lot of exposure onto, the 80 kilometre zones, the 70k zones, the 60 roundabouts, traffic lights, a bit of everything, which is what we need. I've booked in now for quite a few lessons coming up over the next couple of months. I may have mentioned in my other video that I did a course with Stay Upright the other week, which was fabulous, and the trainer was fabulous, and so I rang them again to say I'd like this trainer and I'd like these kinds of lessons before I attempt my Ps, and so they've booked me in for, I think I've got 3 different lessons, and I've also booked in for a lesson with Fee with Heart, which is the Honda training company at St Ives in Sydney. It will probably take us about, somewhere between an hour and an hour and a half to get to that one. That's in mid-July, but because I'm a bit older and a bit more nervous, I feel like the more I practice, the better I'll be at it. When I did the course a couple of weeks ago, and for these future courses that I'm going to do, I'm going to be using their scooters, which are much smaller and much lighter than Rosie. I think they're 110s, and I've just found them so much easier to do, the cone weave and the U-turn. I did spend some time at the uni car park last weekend practicing the U-turns. I took my tape measure and I took my chalk and drew out the 6.1 metre long box thing to practice doing the U-turn in, and I kind of got it at the end, but I'm still not really that confident. So I think we're still travelling down through that Budgewoi area. I think this street is called the Central Coast Highway / Scenic Drive, I think it's called, and then it will take us into Budgewoi. This video, I think, is about 18 minutes long. I'm unsure what the right length of time for a video is. I watch other clips and I don't have a good attention span, so sometimes I get to about 30 minutes and I think that's probably all I'm able to watch on this, at that time. So I kind of feel like I need to keep the videos under 30 minutes. But I don't know what the ideal length of time is, because people will obviously get bored watching them. And I kind of make the videos for my own prosperity and for my grandkids to be able to look back on and see the things that I did as a grandma, and maybe encourage them to do things like this when they're older as well. We've gone into an 80k zone here, so we've picked up the speed, which is fun. But I think I probably need to do a bit more talking to camera, so that you can see my face, so that the girls will have that to look at in 100 years' time when I'm not here. So this 80k zone was really lovely to ride along. I don't know whether I got up to 80. I think I've mentioned before that the speedo on Rosie Vesperina doesn't seem to match what is on the Garmin Zumo XT2. The Garmin is telling me I'm riding slower than what Rosie is saying that I'm riding. So I'm not really sure which one is correct. But I think when I've read forums, Vespa forums and other forums, people have kind of suggested that that Rosie and Vespa's speedos aren't necessarily accurate, and they over-report the speed that you're travelling in. So maybe the Garmin is correct. I'm not sure. I don't have another way of really testing it other than maybe checking with Mia to see what speed her speedo says and seeing whether they are comparable. Still riding along. I think soon we get to a bridge, which is a bridge that goes over Budgewoi Creek, but I'm not quite sure how much further away that is. Still nice and flat in this area. Residential. Mia did say that there are 40k zones, there's 60, there's a bit of everything, so great for practicing. I think I may have cut out of the video, but there was also a mobile speed camera on our travels to the beach as well. We weren't travelling at or over the speed when we went past it, so it was absolutely fine. Not quite riding slow enough to actually read the signs of the directions for those roundabouts, but we haven't reached the creek, or we've gone past it and I haven't realised. When I was doing one of my courses, the instructor had said that we should be indicating as we exit the roundabout. I don't see many other people doing that, but I've tried to keep that up when I'm riding. Obviously, when you're approaching a roundabout and you're going left, you indicate left, and if you're going right, you indicate right. But when you're going straight ahead, you are not indicating in either direction. But he was saying if you're going straight ahead and then you're about to exit the roundabout, you should indicate to the left to indicate that you're exiting. So that's what I am practicing doing, and I'm even doing it in my car now just to be sure. I'd hate to get pulled over and that be the only reason I've done something wrong, so better to be safe than sorry. And it gives people an indication of where you're going on the roundabout as well, I guess, so that's the main purpose of it. Some big houses along this stretch of the road. Lovely. Got that beautiful bright sunny blue day. It was still really cold though. I still had my thermals on underneath my riding pants and layers on underneath my jacket. when I was at the Biker's Attic, I brought a pair of winter gloves, but I didn't put them on for this ride to the beach. But I certainly would have needed them for the ride. I should have had them for the ride early in the morning when we went to meet Fee in Greenpoint, and for the beginning of the ride from Greenpoint to Doyalson North, because my fingers were absolutely frozen. Plenty of speed bumps, and now we're turning right. I don't know what this street is. Mia's in charge of directions, and then we're going to turn left, but I do feel like we're getting closer to the beach. I'm wondering whether I got the names of the streets wrong when I was talking about them. I'm trying to compare them to the map, but I can't quite tell. But anyway, we'll just keep following this. Thank goodness Mia knows where she's going. She's zoomed quite a long way in front of me now. She does have the same speed limit as me, even though she's on her P's. She's still a max of 90 kilometres an hour, the same as me. I think now we are heading up to Soldiers Beach. So I may have got some of those names wrong of those streets, depending on which way we actually went, but essentially it was down the coast and to the east. Look at that cool car on the side there. That was really cool. And look at this car coming right over into our lane. Well, that's okay. So there's lots of people sitting around out here because this beach is, and this season is whale watching season, so there's lots of people that have come with their cups of tea and thermos and their chairs to just sit to see whether they can see any whales. We didn't see any, unfortunately, while we were here, but as I said, it is the season on the Centra Coast for whale spotting. We were so lucky here that there was so many people trying to find a park, but you'll see in a minute that somehow Mia was able to find a parking spot and nobody chose to pull into it, which was very strange, even though there was 4 cars in front of us. So welcome to the beach. It's a lovely spot. As I said, I haven't been here before. Soldiers Beach, but I think I'll come back at some point. And thank you very much for watching.
Oh.